before I started to work in dispatch business, I was a professional poker player.
There are millions of trucks in United States, and behind each one of those trucks is a dispatcher. No matter where they are, in an office or at home, dispatchers are an important factor in trucking industry that no one sees. This is a story of one of these dispatchers that made it with his own company that had an unusual way of succeeding. I hope you enjoyed this interview with Dan as much as I did, and I hope we will do more of these interviews soon so we can show you how it's possible to make it in the dispatching world.
Yeah, so before I started to work in dispatch business, I was I was a professional poker player. So like when I was for about like 16 years old, I was thinking like I need to do something to earn some money. And I started to learn the strategy. I started to learn psychology a lot. And I've learned a lot at this point about negotiations, what to do when you can bluff, and all this stuff. So I have been playing for a good time, like for several years, maybe like 7, something like that. And there was a situation when some of some friends of my friends came from United States in my country, and we met there. And he was just telling me he was interested in poker, and he was telling me about the business, like trucking business, how it goes. I was also interested. It's about negotiations, all these interesting things. So we spoke with him like for about several hours, and he told me if I am interested. Oh, also a good mention I would have to say is like I started to have some money and I wanted to invest in different things. And at that point, I was also looking for my path. Where should I go? What should I do in life? And I understood that my mission here on this planet is to help people. And I was putting putting some targets, aims, and I was going through these targets and aims and doing my mission. So when we spoke with him, he explained me how this works, and he saw like that I have good communication skills, and he asked, "Would you be interested to start to help me in this business?" At that moment, he was just owner operator in a company, and he was thinking to open his own company. So yeah, so we spoke about it, and we went to an agreement that I would think a little bit, like for about 1 week, to see if this is interesting for me, if I can make my mission through this path. And when I was looking on internet, speaking with people in this domain, they explained me how it works, and I was really impressed about it, and I was thinking to try it and to see how it would go. And if I also like all this business stuff, I'm very systematic person. Like I like to put like aims, targets, and go to that. Like going like to targets, like little steps and doing big things. Yeah. And how it happened, I was searching on, so we spoke with him, and he told me, you need to go to a company to learn a little bit, to know how it works. And after that, I will open my own company and we'll be working together. And I was, okay, fine, let's try it. Let's see how it goes. So I was searching on the internet, like such companies like dispatch agencies. And I found like 2 of them. The first one, really, there was with trucking in Europe. But they were glad to get me to the interview, and to speak with them, to explain me about this thing. And they told me, we can make an interview on next day. And I was, okay, yeah, let's see how it all goes. After that, I've called another phone number. And that was directly to a person that owns a company in United States, trucking company. And he was searching for a dispatcher. And we spoke like for about 15 minutes. And he told me, okay, right now you can start. It's fine. Let's do it. I see like your interest. It's fine. Let's do it. I will teach you everything. And step by step, I was like with him on the line. He had a big experience, like for about, I would say, 8 years, something like that. That was 2018. That was 2018. So I have like 6 years of experience in this domain. And I learned from him a lot. How to speak with brokers, how to speak with drivers, how to make a plan, how to work with tonus, with all this stuff, like how to solve the problems. So properly, I was like 15 hours a day on the phone with him. We were on the same line, and I was just learning how he works. And after like 3 days, or maybe 5, something like that, I tried myself. And it was, of course, it was like a little bit, like this anxiety. If it will not work, what should I say? What should I do? But I wrote down on the paper, like a script. And I went through the script, and it worked well. And after that, I was adding from myself, what do I know? Like all the negotiation things. And yeah, this is how I started in that company.
Okay. Do you think, was it easier back then to start as a dispatcher and be able to learn? Because as you said, some of these companies, they invited you, the next day to come over for an interview and do things, and there were other people who were willing to help you. Do you think, was it much easier back then to start this?
I think yes. I think now we are going through a big crisis, like for two years approximately. When I started in 2018, the market was, I would say, good, was nice, like not the best and not the worst, like medium. And in these conditions, I was able more to learn, to practice, and it went like smoother. Now, I would say that you would need to be a good, experienced guy to get some better rates. But for the beginners, is a good thing to start in the crisis time, because if it will not kill you, then you'll be like the best, So
what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Exactly, yeah. That's the thing. So
that's a nice concept of learning that you just mentioned before. You were with this guy on the phone the whole day, and you were just following what he was doing, and you were able to ask questions, and he was willing to help you. So that's a really good idea for someone. If someone can find someone like that who is willing to do it. Now, it might be hard. Everyone is so busy, especially right now. But even if you're going to pay someone for 1 day of the time, it might be very beneficial. The experience that you have because I really want to get back to that poker playing part. That's very interesting. But how do you use the experience from everything that you learned? You said you've done it for 7 years. How do you put all that experience? How do you use it when dispatching trucks and talking to drivers and to brokers?
This profession as a poker player, it's actually a hard path to easy money, So the hardest path is like you need to know the math, and you need to know like 2 things. One is math and one is psychology. Math, you would need it to make all the probabilities when you are playing with your cards. So how I was thinking in poker, and here it's also about probabilities. It's also about like fishing. Like you are staying calm but very attentive. If a load will come up, you need to be very clear and to get it, fishing it, like, you take the fish. So it's also like a good analogy with the poker. That is the same thing. You need to wait, and when somebody is coming, like a recreational player, so you get mobilized and you are playing, with him, and what are your advantages against the person that do not have this knowledge, like math and psychology. So also, like, a good analogy would be the adrenaline. When you play poker, like, there is all the time this adrenaline, all about probabilities, what card will come, like how many percentage I have. And here is also adrenaline, like what loads I would take today. Maybe I would send him to this part of the area of the United States, maybe from this part, like speaking with the brokers. It gave me a lot, like when negotiating, I can tell by hearing the voice of the broker and hearing his tonality, I would understand, like, is he able to negotiate or not? Is he the broker that sells the load, or he's just a worker at the, like all these micro things that helps me when I speak with people and I negotiate with them.
Yeah, you can sense based on their tone and also based on the choice of the words when they speak to you about a certain load. You can kind of sense whether they have more money or no, whether, like you said, they're in charge, and whether they're willing to, like if they sound casual and they're like, then okay, well, they're getting a lot of phone calls. Maybe they don't even care if they cover the load. Maybe it's not even their load.
There are also times when I'm speaking with the broker and I understand that he's just working for the main broker, and I am asking him to speak directly with the broker that owns the load, because he could negotiate more. We could find like something that's good for him and good for us. He's able, like, he knows better how it works.
This is a very interesting description of what we are doing as dispatchers. I for a short period of time, I was a dispatcher in a big trucking company a long time ago, and I was in the office with all other dispatchers. And also when I was a driver, I would go into a dispatching office and I would see all this tension in the office. Everyone is juggling with 2 or 3 phones. Everyone is screaming, yelling, constantly going out, smoking cigarettes. But this is different atmosphere if you're working from home, if you have your own trucks that you dispatch or owner operators. Like you said, it's more relaxed. It's just waiting for the right moment, and then you attack.
Exactly, yes. You are just calm and very attentive, focused. Calm and focused. And when it's pop-ups, you're the first, you're taking it.
Yes. I remember also most people are using voice over IP, and they can just click on a number and call that load back. Then it wasn't like that. You would have to type in each number. And then all of a sudden, we started noticing that you were able to do that. And whoever had that capability of just clicking on a number, they were way ahead. It's like when you're gaming and you have a supercomputer, there is no lag. You have a faster graphics card. You had so much advantage. But right now, most people have that.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. And also, like, there used to be for these things like such programs, like something click programs, that if something pop-ups, it like clicks the first, like automated programs also.
I spoke to one guy, and his brother has a YouTube channel about trucking. And I spoke to him, and he was working on something like that. There was a program that would, based on things that you input into the extension, it would kind of give you the best loads. It would sort them out and then suggest you these loads. But to me, it was a nice concept, but to me, I just didn't like it. So I I said, no, thank you.
Mhm. What I used it was like a very simple program. Just when a load pop-ups, it automatically refreshes the site and click on calling the phone number. But here is like a problem when the same broker, for example, TQL, posts the same loads from different like cities. So you have like to stop it, So you need to be there also and to manage it and to see how it works, where it calls.
What do you think? So when you started dispatching and you said you liked it and you went in, what did you find? What was the hardest thing for you to adapt to? Because I can see you're outgoing, you know how to do your stuff, you're very attentive, oriented to detail. But what was the hardest thing for you at that time? What do you think?
Interesting question. The hardest thing was, I would say, to start to speak with the brokers and to make the deals. That was the most important, because I understood that I was like taught that this is the most important relationship with the broker. How do you speak? How you present your driver, where he is, and all this stuff, And that was the main thing. That was the hardest thing, to start to speak with the brokers and to start to make these conversations very clear, like at the point, and to make it very effective. That was the hardest thing. And I think this is the most important in this business, because every additional $50 or $100 at the end of the year, it's an enormous, amount. So yeah, like even at this crisis, like markets, it's very important to know how to negotiate, how to take a little bit better than it is, how to conduct these conversations. And this was the hardest thing, I would say.
I think you just have to kind of get it through your head that it is possible to do that. I spoke to someone few months ago, and he said that when he started, because he was doing loads in Europe, and it's different. It's different over there now. He said when he started to work with American markets, it was all crazy to him, because the way you can negotiate, he was saying, I just couldn't get it through my head that you're able to ask for hundreds and hundreds of dollars more with a straight face, and they would be willing to even consider that. He thought everyone was going to hang up on him, but it's a different thing here. That's how it works. So you just have to understand that.
Yes, you need to be in this time to understand it and to use it.
Biggest challenge for new dispatchers and even existing ones is finding drivers / owner operators. I've heard that a lot of trucking companies are complaining about dispatchers calling them all day. I also have a trucking authority, and I can tell you, I get 10, 15 phone calls every day from dispatching companies advertising their services. And, it does get kind of annoying, especially because when you know that the person on the other side of the phone is not a dispatcher that's going to be dispatching you, it's just a salesman that's advertising their services. And the questions you ask them, they're always, yes, we can do that. They always give you these inflated prices. And a lot of drivers, especially because right now the times are tough, they're hesitating to even work with a dispatcher. They see it as an additional expense. What did you learn with your experience, that what works right now when you speak to a driver to even like, how do you explain to them that this is in their benefit, that this is not just another expense?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So first of all, I would say that for the driver, it's very complicated to drive and at the same time work at the computer and to be attentive in both things, like driving and to take the loads. I would say that the owner operators and the drivers need dispatchers because they are all the time at their computer, staying and waiting for the best loads, like seconds. The best loads appears just seconds. And usually drivers, they do not have this time, like, and this attention to the board. He was just putting here the computer, right, laptop, and he's driving, for example, and he's just driving, and looking at that and at the computer and think, oh, there is pop-upping a load. Maybe I could call it. And when he's getting this number, calling it, and if he does have the special programs that just click to call it, like the dispatcher will be first. When he will call, there will be like no loads, like good dispatchers. This is the best quality and the most important thing for a driver and for the owner operators, because they are at their desktop all the time. They are helping all the time. They're solving all the issues that appears. Like, for example, a lot of drivers do not like to talk with somebody, or they do not know language, or like they're afraid or something like that. And here is like the dispatcher that makes everything. Like, I'm like a lawyer for all my drivers, I'm taking all the responsibility and I'm helping with everything. And I would say like this is the most important thing, because the best paying loads are taking only the best dispatchers because of their knowledge or their experience, and because they are fast. Like usually the drivers, they are not so attentive, and they also do not have this knowledge and ability to negotiate. This is an important thing. But like I am like speaking every day with a lot of people, with brokers, like automatically, and I'm putting some notes what negotiation worked, where did I tell the right like words, stuff like that, where I did not. And I'm making like the ideal thing, the ideal like script, I would say, and I'm adding from myself. I adapt to each broker to himself, And it's very important in this business to have good connections and to be in good relationships with the driver and with the brokers, based on respect.
Well, I think that what the drivers are not saying, maybe they don't even know that, but subconsciously they are afraid that they're going to run into someone that's not going to be all of that you're doing right now. They don't know, like if you call them and offer them your services, they don't know who's behind that line, what they're capable of, how much experience they have, and whether they're willing to fight for drivers for better loads and to make sure that they're covered. But if they somehow knew that this is all the truth and what you were just saying, they might look at it differently. They just think, hey, that's just going to be someone, they're going to call loads, they're going to take their percentage, and that's it. So maybe they need to understand it in the way that you just said.
Yeah, and this is like very important to understand this. And this is like the thing in this business. You can work a week, and to understand in 1 week, it's fine, to understand if you are, if this person works for you, this dispatch agency works for you, this dispatcher, do you like it? Do you like him? Do you know, does he understand how the work is going on? Does he help you? And all this stuff. Yeah, most of them thinks like it's easy, like you're just calling and taking the load. Why should I pay like extra money? But no, here in this thing, it's a lot of things, like negotiation skills, to be fast, to have a good equipment, like good computer, fast internet, and to take the best paying loads, and to solve all the issues when they appear.
Yes, you have to be ready and available to do all of that. I think one word that you kept saying is very crucial to this whole thing, and that is help. Essentially, you're not just a dispatcher, you're a driver helper. It's like they're having someone in the back of their truck sitting there with them on the laptop with a phone in their hands, just ready to solve any problems that they might have. I was thinking the other day of something, of offering something to drivers, something that no one else was able to offer before. But it's hard to pitch an idea right now because everything is so slow. Everyone is hesitating to invest money in something new. But what if we were not dispatchers? What if we were helpers that can do anything for the driver? Driver needs a document sent. A driver needs something filled out. The driver needs you to call the shipper to check the traffic, to check the weather, to watch the weather and tell them, hey, right ahead of you, there is a snowstorm. Why don't you just go around? Or hey, there is a big accident right there where you're going. You should probably avoid that. That would help them tremendously, and they would appreciate that, and they would gladly pay for it. But the thing is, it's tough to do all of that, especially if you have like 5 or 10 drivers. You can't be watching for loads and doing all of that at the same time. What do you think about that idea?
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say like if, for example, an owner operator, he has so many tasks, as you said, and he gets stressed and he burns out, he needs to do a lot of things, and driving and documents and taking loads. And he would understand, like after several months, that it's easier, it's better to have my personal lawyer as a dispatcher, my personal helper, and he would make all this stuff. And I'm like relaxed, just driving, just going to telling what are my preferences to the dispatcher. He's taking in count, he's analyzing the markings, he's giving the best loads that are on that time, and he's just relaxed and driving, earning money, and like buying another trucks, putting another drivers, and yeah, this is very hard for one person to do everything. It will burn out.
If you had a bigger company and more customers, then you could maybe hire someone that does all of that, or we could call ourselves load planners or driver helpers, things like that, because it would include all of that, and it would mean a lot. Because if you have a driver that's working in for a trucking authority, let's say an owner operator, they also have a dispatcher. They don't look for loads themselves, so they have someone that's helping them.
Exactly. If you want to rise, my company is called Rise Advantage, you need to put correct persons on different things. And this is like very important. And everybody would come to this thing with experience. They would think like it's easy to do all this stuff. They are trying. They are seeing, oh, I think it's not so easy, actually, And also comparing with the loads he's taking. And for example, he would take a dispatcher and he would see what's the difference. Like dispatcher is taking first the load, he's taking with the best rate, he know what to say, he know what to do, to make all this planning and logistics and fit perfectly to this owner operator, and everybody is happy. And that's the main thing, to help and to be happy, right?
Yes. Let me ask you a tough question. What do you think, what's a fair, I'm working with semi trucks mostly, and so do you. What do you think is a fair rate for a semi truck owner operator to pay to a dispatcher?
I would say for now, we need to understand that on this market, it's harder to work, right? And it's a lot more work to do than it was like several years ago. And I would say that would be like 5%. 5%, will be like an average?
I'm speaking to dispatchers every day from all over the world, and some of them are complaining that they have had these customers slash drivers that have been with them for a long time, and they charge them one rate and they're happy and everything is fine, and then all of a sudden they discover someone that charges
Less.
like 50% of what he's charging, and they go to them and they're asking me, hey, what do you think I should do? I mean, like, it's not fair to me. I have helped them from the very beginning. Since they got their MC number, no one wanted to work with them. You set them up with all the brokers, you show them how everything is done, and then after a few months they either want to dispatch themselves because now they can work with more brokers, or they find someone that's very cheap. What do you say to drivers that do that?
Oh, I would say that like in this is such a business, like when a lot of carriers come in, like opening their companies, and a lot of them are closing, right? Also with the brokerage, the same thing. So this is like game in, you are coming out. And with dispatch agency, the same thing is like the driver owner operator comes, you can work with him, and he can go out if he doesn't like, or he wants to make it like cheaper, less money. But the thing is, like, he used to work with you. He knows how do you do. You adapt to him perfectly, and you taking the best loads. And he, like rational people would think, okay, why this one is taking half price and this one like 5% and this one like 2.5? Maybe it's something wrong with this. Why? Maybe I do not know. And when he will try, he would see like he do not have that knowledge. He's not so attentive. He is like maybe just taking the load, and after that doing nothing, just do not help them and all this stuff. And just in comparison, you could understand the difference between the prices. This is like I understand that a lot of people do like that, but this is like the process, like a usual process. Like I adapt to it, and this is like how people understand. If they do not try a worse dispatcher, they do not appreciate that one, that he had before. But the main thing is, like, after some time, he could come back and say, hey, can we work together? And you would say, oh, unfortunately, I have another persons, or if you would like, you can work with him. But if he made that thing, I wouldn't say it's like something with respect and all this stuff, and I wouldn't work with him anymore.
Right. Well, we had this policy when I opened my first authority. We had this policy where if an owner operator leaves, that we're not going to take them back, because back then it was mostly people from, like, here in the United States, you have a lot of people from different countries that open up their own authorities, and then they have all their friends that are usually from the same country come over, and then something doesn't go the way they like, and they get mad, they leave, they go to someone else, and then they want to come back, and they think based on that, like, hey, we're the same people and we speak the same language, they will take me back. And most people will. They just see numbers. But with me, we just had that policy. And then what you were saying before, the thing with owner operators who have their own authority, I keep saying to all dispatchers, hey, the retention is very high. So you have to keep that in mind. These drivers, nothing is connecting them to you besides the relationship that you have. That's the only thing. Not even that agreement. The agreement is just a piece of paper. But the relationship that you have, that you create with them, that's the only thing that's connecting you. Because if you have your own trucking authority and you have leased, someone is leased on to you, that's different, because for them it's harder to leave. they can't work with anyone else, only with your company, while they're on your insurance, on your drug screen policy. They have their signs on their trucks. It's different. It's a big step for them to leave. But if you're a dispatcher working with owner operators who have their own authority, nothing prevents them from leaving. I've had drivers that have been with me for more than 10 years, and even if they find someone that's cheaper than what I charge, they will not go to them because they know that I know them. I know the drivers. I know which loads they're gonna take, which loads they want. I know where they like to go, where they don't like to go. I learned I know more about them than they know about themselves.
Yeah, I agree with that. Of course, for sure, it's right, and yeah, they wouldn't change because they know better than him what he would like to do, But with a new person, with a new dispatcher, if he goes, for example, he would need to teach him from the zero everything, and that can take like years. Like you said, you have like 10 years I work with him and I know everything. But new dispatcher, like less price, maybe he's not so efficient in working. He needs to adapt to you, and this is a lot of stress, and yeah, I would say that this is the most important thing, is the relationship, right, with dispatcher, with the carrier, with the owner operators. Yeah.
Yes, and that's why I think if you are advertising your services, maybe you're cold calling, maybe you're speaking to drivers, in my opinion, it's best that you do it yourself. Like if you have a small company, it's different if you have a bigger company with a lot of dispatchers and salespeople. But if you have a small company, you're working from home by yourself, it's best that you speak to these drivers and tell them, hey, I'm going to be dispatching you. I can do this for you. I can do that for you. That, in my opinion, would show them that you're honest, and tell them, hey, just try me out. You have nothing to lose. Try me out. What do you think is a good advice for new dispatchers who are wanting to start in this industry? I see people from all over the world very interested in this because it gives you opportunity to work from home if you know English. It used to be that it was very easy to start doing it from abroad, and even from here, from United States. But lately, it's been harder, but still doable. So, what would be your advice to someone that's just starting?
So my advice would be for new dispatchers. First of all, you would need to learn the theory. It is the most important thing. Like you always have a lot of information on your channel, how to do it, a lot of videos there. It's like a lot of information. If you have time, you would look at all the videos and you would understand like how works the business, like for 80%, maybe 90%, something like that. Or if you'd like to make it faster, you could take a course, for example, where the information is structurized and it's easy to learn. Like in several weeks, you would understand like almost everything. So the most important thing is theory. After you learn the theory, the second thing is to get into this practice. So the young dispatcher would need to choose, like, to go in a dispatch agency and to practice there, or he would like to find, for example, owner operator and to practice with him, which is harder. It's much harder because it's also a thing when we speak with the person, he understands from your voice, like, do you have like experience? What's your attitude? Like how I would say it, like, how good do you know this business? Because everybody wants to take the best, like a lot of people. Okay, I'm paying you this price. I need a good service, and that's fine, If you do not have this experience, I would say for them to find the first owner operator to tell them like you have a lot of theory and you want to start working with him and help him, and maybe you could take him some loads, for example, for free. So he could be interested. You will practice at this point, and the other one you will make like I would say the most important thing is fire in you. You know, if a owner operator sees like, oh, I'm telling him, man, I do not understand in this business like not so many things, but I know I want to do it. I know how to do it. I want to help you, and let's try it. Just give me 1 week, and we'll see how it goes. You know, I would say, yeah, that would be like an important thing.
Okay, thank you. One of the things that like we are talking online right now, we are not even close to each other, but we know each other. We spoke before, and we are learning about like if we can trust each other. And when you cold call drivers, when you speak to them, that's why they're saying never close on a first call. But when you're speaking to someone over the phone, they don't know you, they don't see you. It's hard to trust that other person in whatever they're saying. You have to test them for a while and see whether they're gonna fulfill their promises. I had a lot of people asking me for help as dispatchers and drivers, and they offered something in return, and they would say they would work with me, they would work for me, they would help me. And I found out that unfortunately most of these people underperform and they didn't do what they promised. So based on that, when you're talking to someone else and they promise you all those same things, and in the back of your head you're thinking, hey, I don't know if that's gonna happen. I have one guy that's working with me right now doing some advertising, and he is the only person that did what he promised he would do, and he's still doing it. Some people want to see results right away. They want the return, the favor returned right away, or they just disappear. So it's hard to you have to understand these drivers. Like for some reason people trust me. when people see me, when I speak to them on the phone or when they talk to me, they say, hey, you know, you look like an honest guy, I think I can trust you. So if you don't put out that vibe and people can sense it even if they don't see you, then it's just not gonna work. You have to sound trustable. But how do you do that, you know, like without overdoing it? You have like you have to be self-confident when you talk to drivers. They have to know that you know what you're doing, but how like you cannot overdo it, you know, you can't be arrogant. Where do you find balance?
I would say that you should make the marketing like in different ways to gain owner operators in different ways. The hardest, I would say, it's like the hardest way is cold calling, because you are calling and like 1 person in 200 is answering, you know, and even if he answers, it doesn't mean that you need to present yourself in several seconds. You need to present yourself in such a way so you could create a little trust for you, you know. You need to interest him with something, and this is very important. So if you have at your back like your site own or like your Facebook page and all this stuff, you could speak with him and tell, I can send you my information of my dispatch agency. You could look there, you could see, because, for example, at my agency, I'm regularly posting the loads that we are taking. And persons go to my page, like to Rise Advantage on Facebook, and he's seeing like all the how they work, what laws do they take, from where to where, how it's going on, what do they write information about the owner operators and all this stuff, and they could make more credibility when they see, okay, this company is working for some time, they're like posting something, good loads, okay, it's interesting, okay, let me see, let me try what they can have for me. But if you do not have nothing from your back, it's really hard to create this a little bit of trust for the owner operator to start to work with him. Even I've heard from a lot of dispatchers that they tell them like, let me work for you like for free, like 1 or 2 weeks, and they do not want. It's really hard. And when you take into consideration this self-confidence, so firstly, like dispatcher doesn't have experience, just know the theory, and he doesn't have this self-confidence. And this owner operator is like understanding this, and he would tell like, why should I take him? He would think about it like more, and mostly they will not take it. So this is very important to, in first seconds, to create some interest and some trust with your words, with your like attitude and all this stuff. It's really hard, I would say, yes, but you used to it. Like when you do it, then you make it like when you call a broker, it's like very easy. And after that, when you're calling like cold calls, when you do it constantly, and you also like you are hearing back like your records, what did you tell? Was it wrong or not? Why he answered like that? And you make some corrections all the time, and you are doing like the correct path you take, and you make like the perfect script, which is really hard to create.
It's very interesting that you mentioned the brokers when you speak to brokers, because it's kind of like that when you call the broker, but the broker is expecting your phone call because they posted a load and they're expecting someone to call. But then even then, it's very important how you sound and how you open up that conversation. I had some people tell me that, hey, well, you should introduce yourself and tell them who you are. I sometimes, if I'm looking for a specific person that I worked before, maybe I booked a load with them, then I tell them the company name, just so they can relate to that person. Tell them, hey, this guy from that company is calling you. You just booked a load with them, and they want to speak to you. So then they know it's important. But if I'm just calling, I say, hey, good morning, calling about your load from there to there. And I try to sound relaxed and have that friendly tone of my voice without being too outgoing. Some people overdo it, and that has worked for me. All brokers, I had no brokers tell me, hey, well, who are you? Which company are you from? What's your name? No, they just go with it right away. So you spoke about people that work for you, and you told me that before, and I find it interesting to have most of us are working either from home or they're working by themselves. Now you are one of the few persons that actually has people that work with them or for them. When is it time to expand? Obviously, you have to have a lot of customers. You have to have drivers and enough business, enough work for them to do and to make it feasible for your company. When do you think it's time to expand and hire people?
So I would say that when you work, you gain some experience, you make some good relationships with the drivers, but a lot of drivers in perspective want to open their MC and to work on themselves. So how did I start it? I was gaining the experience. I had very good relationship with the drivers. They opened their own MC, and we started to work on their own MC, and they got another drivers and on their company, and they wanted to work with me as well, because they like How do I understand the marketing? How do I make the deals? So at one point, when they like from the good relationships, they are giving you drivers, or maybe they have some friends that opened their companies, and they also want as a recommendation, give you as a recommendation, and want to work with you. At this point, when I understood that I am not able to take more trucks than I could, I was thinking in creating my dispatch agency and expanding my mission, my help mission. So I'm taking helpers that they are helping drivers and owner operators. And it's very important to take also a person with this fire in himself, to manage him and to give him information how to do it. And that's also about trust. If something happens and he doesn't know, he would ask me and I would tell him. It's very important not to be afraid. If like a person is afraid, he would make something, and after that will be like a big problem. But if you are in good relationships, like a family, we're like a family, then something happened or he doesn't know, even it's something simple, he's asking, just checking, I'm telling him, okay, yeah, it's fine. So at this point, when I've got experience, I wanted to and I got more drivers than I could work with. I was thinking about opening the dispatch agency, and I was making like step by step, doing all this stuff. I was gathering the information, the knowledge, how to do it. And also a very important thing, the quarantine that was with COVID, it showed us that in this business, you could work from your home. It doesn't matter if you are at home, in office or at home. It's the same thing. It's all about a person. If he is responsible or is not responsible. If he is responsible, he could work even from the Mars, It doesn't matter. So if he has in himself this inner desire to help, then he will be also like at the computer helping, solving everything, So this is how I started, and I got dispatchers, which I liked. We worked together more, which didn't want to work and didn't want to take any responsibility on themselves. We didn't work anymore, but this is how it works. Like you try to represent yourself, like your face is very important, and you would take like people that are same as you, I would say. And this is not so easy as having new owner operators. Also, it's not easy having dispatchers. You need all the time like to manage, to see, to help, to give an advice, to be like near him. So yeah.
Okay. So how many trucks did you have at that point when you decided that it's too much for you and you need someone to help you?
So that was 2 years ago when I had like 12 trucks, I would say 12 trucks.
Okay.
And I was getting like more owner operators wanted also to work, and I was, oh, guys, no, it's too much. But at that time the market was like, it was better. Now the market, you cannot work with 12. It's impossible. It's very hard.
Going back to what you said about people that work with you or for you, the mind set is very important to be same as yours. I always thought that if you are going to hire someone that works for you, as it's different if they're on a lower level, they do some helping, that's different. But if you're a dispatcher and you're looking for loads and you're looking for someone to take some of your trucks and do the same thing that you're doing, in my opinion, you have to find someone that's better than you. I know everyone has to start somewhere, and like I said, that's maybe a lower position. If you have, someone right there in the corner learning and just taking some trucks that you cannot like dispatch them, give them directions, things like that, some easy work. But if you're hiring someone to take off the load from you, in my opinion, you should find someone that knows, that has maybe even more experience than you do. Because if you're giving someone a good salary, I want to be able to learn from them too. I'm not hiring someone to teach them or to train them for that position. I want to benefit. We both, like when we work, like Emre and I, when we work together, it's like I'm learning from him, he's learning from me. We both have a lot of experience with different things, and we really fulfill each other. And it's great when we speak. When we speak, like he tells me something I didn't know, I tell him something he didn't know. So for me, that's the perfect. Even with Chris, Chris is doing dispatching only right now, and he doesn't have as much experience as we do, but he's very fast. He learns quick, and he's he's really great. But when we all talk together, it's amazing. That it's a dream team. It's very important to find someone like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And here I would add, like, it's also, Enis, it's also about like choices. If you take a better dispatcher, you need to pay him more, or you could take another, for example, young dispatcher and pay him less, but learn him. It's the most important thing is like this fire in himself. If he wants it, if he feel it. Like, it's not about money, it's about like help. So the mission is help. Money, I would say, it's a side effect. You are doing something good, like I'm going on my mission, I know what I do, I'm putting my targets, aims, I am going through my aims, and I am helping people. This is my mission, and money just comes as side effect. And when I find such a person, I would take it instantly. I wouldn't stay, and I would teach him and give him like all the instruments, all the stuff, and he will make a great work. And for example, there could be like some experienced dispatcher, but they do not have this fire in themselves, like they are tired or something like that, burn out, and they will not make a good job. It's like different all the time. It depends.
It's very important, and also, like, if you have a team player that works with you, or even a business partner, if you're together, the best way to start to test your partnership in tough times, when there is no money, then you'll see, like I had that before. Then whenever there was a crisis in trucking, then you can feel the tension. You can feel the tension, like there is no money. When there is money, everyone is happy. Same like with your family, in your marriage, in business partnership, in the company you work for, everyone is happy. Like there is money. Hey, but if there is no money, then the true you comes out. And right now, with this crisis in the last 2 years, like for example with Emre and myself, then you can see that solidarity, that money. It does matter, but like you said, it will come, because in these times a lot of people are not making money, not making anything, but still, we're trying to find different ways to make money, and hopefully learn from this.
Yeah, exactly. You are just doing what you can do. It's very good if you do what you can do. If you do not do what you can do, then there is a problem, But if you're doing the right thing, you're going through the path, okay, everything will be fine. You'll be remunerated. Not now, but maybe a little bit later. It's fine. It's okay. Just do the right thing. And when you do the right thing, you feel this, like, this energy. It expands from you to your team, to your family, everything. And someday will come and money and everything will be great. You just need patience. Or in our business, I would say an analogy with the poker, the patience is very weight, has a very a big weight, Like you need to be patient for everything, for searching loads, for expanding yourself, your company, everything. And everything will come. Just need to wait and to in this moment to be happy.
Yeah, patience is a virtue. a lot of people who are watching this will understand this word. We are using this word. It's called sabr. You probably never heard of it, but a lot of people will understand, and that literally means patience. But it's a different kind of patience. It's kind of like a struggle, and knowing that a lot of things are not in your hands. That you can do so much. You do everything, and then you, like you said, then you wait and you wait and you wait, and the results will come. Even like if you're doing hard work and you see nothing, but eventually you will see the results in one way or another. I wanted, now that you mentioned poker, I really wanted to ask you more about that, and I
Okay.
wanted to make it somehow connected to dispatching and trucking. But either way, I'm very interested. How, like you said, professional poker. What player? What does that mean? Like, how do you become one, and how do you even go with that? Like, you have to travel a lot and go to different games, and just please explain to me.
Okay. So in poker, you have two paths. One is playing online on different sites, and another one is playing live with real people, and everybody chooses like what is better for them. If somebody likes more to be into online, to stay at home, he would play online. If somebody wants to go to some live to speak with people, he would go to offline. So a professional player is a player that knows the math and the psychology and earns only by game. He's playing constantly all the time. He's just playing and playing. He doesn't do anything else. And he knows like all the theory, he knows the psychology, he uses it, and yeah, he's earning money from this, only from the poker.
Were you doing it live or online?
I was playing mostly online, but I was playing as live as well. I have been in Barcelona, also played offline live, so different.
So when you do it live, does it, like, I've seen movies or some professional poker games. I don't know much about that. So, but it's interesting. Is it really like that? Like, people are wearing sunglasses and trying to, hide their expressions. Is it really like that?
Yes, it's really like that. And mostly it's like when their limits are higher, So they're like with their clothes putting on, with their glasses, So a professional poker player wouldn't see his micro mimics on his face, that can give you this. These are called tells. Like I saw a tell, and I would take some information. Like every move from every poker player, it's a tell. How he takes these coins, fish. How that would be like in 1 second.
The chips.
The chips, yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct. So it's like everything gives you a tell. How the person is taking the chips, how they put it, how they are looking at it, how they are looking at you. You are gaining all the time the information, and you are giving the best option, the best response to it. This is how it works.
So based on that, you can tell if they really have a good hand,
Or bluffing.
or they're just bluffing. And
Exactly.
then based on what you have, then you proceed. Like, if you have a good hand, then you think, okay, if they're bluffing, I'm just gonna go in and things like that. So how much can one make, like in one game, depending on like how big the stakes are? Like, what do people make?
It's very different. It all depends on type of game. There are like tournaments, there are cash, and there are like a lot of different limits. So I would say like you could earn from, it depends like what is your experience, with whom do you work? With whom do you play? Like the recreational players, these are the most wanted at the table, because they do not know the math, and you make money on them. That's the thing. It all depends on a lot of stuff. So I would say like it starts from $500 to like 100,000 and more, and something like that. It's a lot of things. I can't say like exactly. It's impossible to say because there are a lot of factors that can influence it. So it's impossible.
Do you lose money as well when you're like I know like if people play together, then they invest money, but like in these professional games, do you invest your own money?
So yes, this is like a session. When you play, this is called a session. The main thing is to take the right decisions, math decisions all the time in psychology, And if you are doing the right thing, in one session you could be like in one good plus, in one session you are going in minus, and that's fine. Like the poker players, professional ones, they are used to it, and they do not take care like, okay, today I make money, tomorrow I lose. It's fine because I do the right decisions, expected value decisions, and in a long distance I will be in plus, in a very good plus. So this is how it works. And yeah, so you could be like end in plus, end in minus, it's fine, but at the end, at the session, but it depends, like the life is a session, But I would say like the session like starts when you start playing and ends when you stop playing. And after that, when you start, it continues, So it's like a whole long like life session. And if you're doing the right decisions, then money will come anyway. And this is how I was reporting to dispatch, You just need to make the right decisions and everything will come. It doesn't matter. Today you make a good decision, tomorrow you earn something. Tomorrow you also make a good decision, but you didn't earn, it's okay. The main thing is you made the right decision. Like you have the experience, you have the knowledge, and you just go through it, and that's it. And money will come as a side effect, That's how.
So it's kind of like losing a battle, but the important thing is to win the war. So you might win a battle or lose, but the objective is to win the war.
Exactly.
I promise the next question will be connected to dispatching. So is there a lot of cheating going on in poker?
If there is any cheating in poker?
Yeah.
I would say there are a lot of cheating in poker, and this is also a part of poker. Not to get into this. This is like a special thing. Yes, it is, and online and offline, and you need to be aware of all these things. If you have experience, you understand where you could go and play and where you shouldn't. This comes only with experience, but there is a lot, because there's a lot of money in poker. So
right, yeah. So how do you transfer that experience in finding the cheaters or noticing people who are cheating or scamming in this kind of business? Like, can you tell when someone is trying to fool you in dispatching here in trucking?
Like bluffing or fooling, yeah.
So that helped you with like the experience that you gained with playing the poker game.
Yeah. That helped a lot, because like when, for example, I speak with a broker and I'm asking him questions and he doesn't really know like some information or something, like I would need like, could you give me please the exact picking time hours, like for the pickup, for the deliveries, and he's telling me, I don't know, I just need to check, or yes, it should be from 6 to 10. And I'm asking, do you know for sure? Or is just, how does it work? Did you work with that facility before or not? So I'm putting him in this situation so he would put me on hold and checking all this stuff and giving me the right exact information. This is one thing. And another thing is about cheating, like the brokers which are scamming, you mean? how do we check them? Yeah, also like it's a very important thing to control all this thing. This is like how dispatchers experience work, you know. They understand, for example, they see an email that is like not looking professional with Gmail, and for him this is like an information. Oh, the broker has this Gmail. Is this a real broker, or this is something scamming? And you're trying to get the right phone for the company, calling there and checking if this is the right person or not. There are a lot of scams doing that. That's why I think DIT is making these restrictions, because they made like a ton.
Yes, yes. When I speak to new or aspiring dispatchers, I always would try to find out if they might have some experience in something that might help them in this kind of work. They would usually say, well, I don't have any experience, I don't know anything about transportation, but then I try to find out, hey, what have you done before? What kind of job did you do before? Which school did you go to? Do you have a degree on something or special training in something? And then I try to connect that to dispatching and trucking, and most of the times you can find something. Whatever you were doing before, you can somehow find a connection and implement that experience and the things that you learned into this. And professional poker player and dispatching, I mean, it's like the total opposite of, but still you can find some connections and you can use that experience.
That's truly for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing this. This was a pleasure, and I think it will benefit the viewers and even both of us, because I learned something too from this conversation.
Yeah, and me too. Thank you, Enis, very much. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting. And I was glad to be useful for the young dispatchers, the new dispatchers that are going on this path. Then yeah, I think if just one thing new they learned, then it's something good.
Yes, I agree. Thanks, Dan.